talk today about why Venezuela might not be the place for you. And of course, where you're looking for a place to visit, to travel, to spend quite some time, to even live, and even to get a residency or a passport. Of course, Venezuela has a lot of amenities for many people, many special people, depending on their requirements. However, I'm gonna, brainstorm a few reasons why Venezuela might not be a great fit for you. Well, first, in Venezuela, you might find the same problems that you find on the rest of Latin America. Red tape, find some corruption, you find that the services are not as great as, let's say, the United States or Western Europe or Singapore or you name it. So you have these frictions on the everyday life that many people actually enjoy. People from Europe and the United States, however, they're just bored to death on their home countries. However, if you like that comfort and you like, this aura that makes the situation predictable, yeah, maybe Venezuela might not be for you. Venezuela, it's a little bit unpredictable. I live pretty okay here, pretty safe, and actually I know what I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing okay here in Venezuela. However, if it's not the case, if you don't like a little bit of discomfort, Venezuela might not be for you. Second thing is the people and the culture of the people. Here in Venezuela, the average Venezuelans, they're not like the average Latin Americans. However, there are some similarities. And the first thing that when you compare someone from Latin America to, let's say, Canadian or European, is that they have a different culture. Actually, they're very warm, they're very nice people. However, not necessarily they say what they mean or they mean what they say. And this is a pretty popular cultural shock that you find between Western people and Latin people. They tend to not be punctual, they tend to not be on time, they tend to promise something and later on don't keep that promise, and they don't do it because they're bad people, they just don't want, the verbal confrontation. They're not as direct, they not necessarily mean what they say and they say what they mean, and sometimes people like, let's say, from the United States or Germany or Switzerland have problem with that. We don't have trains on time, like like in the UK or like in Switzerland. And if you like that Swiss, and German regulations and norms, they're very strict, very tight, and not saying this is a bad thing. Actually, I think it's a good thing. However, it's one problem that you might find here in Venezuela. So if you like that kind of mindset on the average person around you, and I'm talking not your best friends, I'm talking just, the people who attend you here in Venezuela. Of course, I'm not like that, not usually. Actually, I'm not. However, people here are not as trustworthy on that specific matter, punctuality and playing by the rules. Third thing is the weather. The weather here in Venezuela, actually, I love the weather, especially on my city, Lecheria, but it's a summer 365 weather. It is warm the entire year, there is sunshine every day, and I like that kind of weather. Although, if you like this more, four seasons approach of weather, we don't have here in Venezuela that. We have some, let's say, cooler cities like Caracas. Actually, Caracas, the average temperature is around 20 Celsius degrees. We have Mérida, actually the coldest city of the metropolitan cities in Venezuela. So if you want to be a little bit chill, a little bit cold, you can go to Mérida, Venezuela. However, most of the places here in Venezuela are quite warm, so if you don't like the heat, you don't like the weather, and you like, winter all year round or fall all year round, that actually you can find that in Merida. So be aware of that. If that, tropical weather is not for you, Venezuela might not be the place for you. And the last thing is the dating. Okay, first start with the men. Many single men come here in Venezuela. Of course, Venezuela is known for their beautiful women. However, it's not the case that many people here, many Westerners, come here thinking that the women are, like, like escorts, and that's not the case. We have a bunch of escorts. Don't worry about that. That's what you're looking for. However, most women are actually ladies and doesn't like that kind of treatment. If you come with money, however, it's always a plus on the dating scene around the world. However, it's not the only thing that matters, and you have to know what you're doing and get integrated to the community, to the culture, learn some Spanish, you name it. So you have to do some work and not just come here, thinking this is doing some sex tourism here alone. And if you are a female, a single female coming here in Venezuela and you want to try the date scene and you're looking for this, Miami baller guy like Dan Bilzerian or Jordan Belfort or one of these, big, rich, famous playboys. Here, Venezuela might not be the place for you because although we have some of those guys, don't get me wrong, or most Venezuelan men are not rich. They might be respected by their jobs. We have a bunch of lawyers, accountants, doctors, engineers, you name it, and they're pretty respected and they have some status on their community, on the small community. However, they're not ballers here. They're not, flashy, spending, making it rain. And if you like this kind of man, Venezuela might not be the place for you in order at least to find, your next husband or something like that. And the culture is quite different compared to the rest of the world. So keep that in mind if you're coming here in Venezuela. If the things that I mentioned on this video are deal breakers for you, well, simply Venezuela might not be the place for you.